Number 16, Grady Pinn. Number 15, Cooper Hills. Number 2, Adam Vatnsdahl. Number 10, Imran Noor. Number 5, Caden Clark. Number 12, Jonah Tollefson. Number 20, Mustaf Moorhead. Number 4, Connor McCoy. Number 18, Carson McDonald. And finally, number 7, Hamzi Hashi. The Green Wave is coached by Mr. Robbie Grabansky with the rest of the coaches, players, and staff of the East Grand Forks Green Wave High School Boys Soccer Club. And now let's meet the starting lineup for the home team on the scoreboard, our Spuds of Moorhead Senior High School. Our first starter, number 1, Jacob Vanette. Number 2, Razik Al-Shamani. Number 5, Ben Colborn. Number 7, Mohammed Namouk. Number 9, Abdir Aman Ahmed. Number 10, Rebar Kekos. Number 11, Mohammed Hussein. Number 12, Osama Alawi. Number 15, Jesse Jardy. Number 18, Parker Gast. And finally, number 21, Colin Baumgartner. The Spuds are coached by Mr. Ben Patry with the rest of the coaches, players, and staff of the Moorhead High School Spuds High School Boys Soccer Club. Ladies and gentlemen, if at this time y'all please rise and direct your attention toward the east end of Calmrouse Field as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Let's play Minnesota High School Boys Soccer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of Boys High School Soccer. Tonight on Spuds TV, brought to you by Muscatel Subaru. I am your play-by-play commentator, Carter Castoris. And again, on behalf of Spuds TV, we welcome you as you tune in tonight for a matchup between the Moorhead High School Spuds and the East Grand Forks Green Wave. Moorhead comes into this matchup at 5-1-1, and East Grand Forks comes in at 0-3-0. Moorhead on a roll here over the last couple of games as they are now on a winning streak, and they look to continue that as they defend their home turf here at Jim Goda Stadium. And as we await the opening kickoff here, something you have to notice is on East Grand Forks, it is a very young team with quite a few of their players coming in at 9th grade and below, and including 3 seniors on this starting squad here, including their starter goalie, Jonah Tollefson. So you know that those younger guys are going to be looking up and looking for leadership from them as they take on the Moorhead club here. On the road, nonetheless, against a Moorhead team with quite a few upperclassmen, as almost the entire roster is filled with 11th and 12th graders, with the only exceptions being Lukeman Silmain as a freshman and Parker Gast as a sophomore. As you see in the middle there, that is Cooper Hills. That's going to take the opening kickoff for East Grand Forks, and he'll receive it back. That's going to be moved over to his right side before intending for Vatnsdal, but that's stolen away from him. And a couple of moves gets it over to Alshamani. Alshamani's going to tap it back for Baumgartner now. Baumgartner pressured heavy there by Hashi before Colburn's going to end up going between the legs of an attacker there. And eventually it's going to work its way up, and Hussein's going to tap that on over to Namook. Namook there, trying to work his way in. He's in the side of the box, and a tap out there on the defensive side by Mustafa Molid. And Moorhead will get a throw in along the near side here of the camera. So Moorhead retaining some pretty heavy pressure and ball control here, even though it is the early stages of the game. Moorhead looking to come out dominant. As I do apologize, that shot hooked out, and that'll be Keikos taking a corner kick, and they'll be knocked down in front of the net. And another shot's going to go off the outside of the net, as that was Keikos looking for the first goal of the night. And now there will be a goalie kick by Tollefson from his box as he looks to kickstart his East Grand Forks offense. And that kick's going to be sent on out right to about the 35 or 40 on the football field, and that's fielded down by Colborne before it's stolen away from him there by Hills. Hills is going to tap it over to the side to McDonald, for he tries to get it back to his defender. And Keikos is going to steal that one, tapping it over to Colborne. Colborne along the far side there to Namook. Namook trying to make a break for the net. With some great defense there by East Grand Forks, as Namook is surrounded by about 3 defenders. That's Hussein with it now. To Colborne and over to Keikos. Keikos with a couple of moves before, I believe there'll be a Moorhead foul, and there'll be a free kick there along the 20-yard line on the football field. Is taking that will be off Shari, and he'll send that out. And just skipping past Nur there along the sideline, and Moorhead's going to get a throw in. That's tapped into Colborne, and a couple of bounces are going to send it over to, Baumgartner. Now Colborne with it. He's going to move it on up. Almost looking for a give and go there. So that's Hussein moving it up, and he'll try to tap it forward. That'll go just out of the reach of Alawi. And another goalie kick there from inside his box for Tollefson. So he winds up, and he'll send that away. That's going to be headed way up, and a couple of defenders around those. Gas heading it up, and he'll receive the ball back down now. He'll try to make a move around Caden Clark, but that'll bounce out of bounds off of Clark. And so Razak Al-Shamani is going to take a throw in there along the near side. He'll pass into Hussein, tapped over to Gas, back to Hussein. That's going to be stolen away and booted all the way up, and Baumgartner is going to chest that down. Here's Hashi, pressured hard by Gast. Vatnsdal is going to try to get it across there to Nur. But Moorhead watches that roll out of bounds. And another throw in. And that's taken away by East Grand Forks. Now coming up here on the attack is Hills. And off of a bank pass off of Hashi's right shin, Moorhead's going to get a throw in here along the near side. As that's all Shamani. Intended for Hussein. That'll be Keikos that ends up with it. Now, way forward tap pass is going to go up. Trying to send it back into the middle for Hussein, and Namook's going to get a shot that came awkwardly off of his foot, so that'll be fielded away by the East Grand Forks defenders with no problem. And a glancing pass there off of Hills will get Moorhead another throw in here. As that's all Shamani who throws it into Colborne. Colborne trying to fight off Hashi, and he will, and pass it over to Keikos, back to Colborne. That's the Gas now. Gas moving it on up to Namook. Namook to Hussein. Hussein with a move and a hook shot on net and a save by Tollefson, his first of the night. You saw that Moorhead passing display there between Gas, Hussein, Namook, and Keikos as they all were moving it back and forth before the eventual first shot of the game. Well, first shot on Tollefson, I should say. That corner kick ended up getting fielded by a Green Wave defender, and then a shot went off the side of the net. So Moorhead with probably 3 on the stat sheet, but Tollefson credited with 1. As that'll be off Shari. Before that's stolen away from Al Shamani, and a foul will be called against Moorhead, resulting in a free kick for Cooper Hills of East Grand Forks. Seems some trickery there, as that'll actually be McGoy that sends that in before bouncing it up to Hussein. Hussein is going to tap it way along the far side, and streaking Ahmed's going to get that, and he's got some speed coming into the offensive zone. He's going to try to tap it back in, and Hussein's offsides before he rings a shot off the crossbar. Not sure if he knew he was offsides or was a little bit close with the far side defender. He thought he might have been onside, but ref in hidden judgment thought he wasn't, and now Tollefson's going to elect Afshari to take his kick for him. And that's moved on up here to Clark. Knocked away by Hussein. And Hussein will not keep it in. As a nice display of handling there was ultimately in vain as it ended up bouncing out. East Grand Forks trying to settle it down there before that'll be passed over to Clark. Clark's going to move it over to Afshari, who tried to get it to a forward, and he'll end up getting out with Hills. Hills is going to pass it on up to Hashi. Hashi intended to get it to Nur, but a Moorhead pass will just go out of reach. And East Grand Forks gets a throw in. And just like that, Moorhead's got a throw in here along the near side as trade in possession here. That's Colborne who would tap it back to Baumgartner. Up to Colborne. Colborne's going to send it along the far side. He's going to tap it up, and that's Ahmed running for it. Ahmed trying to decide whether or not to take a shot. He'll charge the net, and a pass across intended for Namook. Just a little bit in front. And nothing will come out of that chance. He was set up there, and the pass just went a little bit too far ahead. And Tollefson's going to get a goalie kick from that. So about 8 minutes into this game, and Moorhead's putting on a huge amount of pressure. As that'll be tapped up and fielded down by Baumgartner. Baumgartner's going to move it to Colborne. Colborne's going to tap it back over to Desjarny. Desjarny's going to end up passing that over, and that's tapped up to Hussein. Hussein with a burst of speed along the side. Nice move along the middle to Keikos. Keikos fumbling with it a little bit, and a save by Tollefson. Moorhead putting on a huge amount of pressure here as Al Shamani avoids a slide tackle before a nice defensive play there by Afshari as he gets the ball back and attempts to move around Al Shamani before Baumgartner will recoup that. And Colborne now with about 4 East Grand Forks players on him, and he'll get through that. He'll get through a fifth, pass it up to Hussein. Hussein tried to tap it back, but fumbled with it a little bit as he will end up getting it back. Trying to make a move around the ref there as East Grand Forks will eventually tap it out here along the near side, and Moorhead will get a throw in. That'll be Baumgartner throwing it in off of a gassed header to him. With it now is Keikos. Keikos passing along the far side to Ahmed, and that's an offsides call as he jumped the gun just a little bit. As you may remember last year with a very offensive-minded Spuds crew, that was a trend you saw with speedy players along the sides, such as Saif Alawi, as he would dart across the side and end up getting it right even with the defender, so no offsides could be called, and he just used that speed and push forward to the net, and that's how they end up scoring about half their goals last year. It was just plays like that. So you can see Moorhead's crew this year trying to do the same thing. As Colborne will settle that down and pass over to Ahmed. Ahmed to Gast. Gast teeing up for a long pass to Namook, and that'll be completed. They're moving in 3-on-3 here. And a shot's going to be sent in on net before a ringer into the top of the net. And Rivar Keikos has the first goal of the game. That was Keikos from number 7, Mohamed Namook, and number 18, Parker Gast. As that was a beautiful shot as Namook passes there, and a very high shot as it goes right underneath the crossbar, and Tollefson with no shot of saving that one. And East Grand Forks will try to regroup here as they tie is broken with just over 10 minutes being played here. As that's Gast with it here. Gast is going to tap it on over to his side. And that'll be moved back to Dejarny. Dejarny's going to move it all the way back across the field for Al-Shamani. And Al-Shamani with a little fake there and pass it up to, Namook. And Namook will end up back with that. It's almost a fake pass there. Is he looking for his first off of Keikos' heels, and he was looking for two. And Colborne will settle that down for tapping it back to Baumgartner. Baumgartner's going to hit that up, but that's fielded away. And now picked up by Afshari. Afshari will bounce off of a Moorhead attacker there. But he has to get it back. Eventually Colborne will end up with it. Colborne along the far side there to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani tap back to Colborne. Back over to Al-Shamani. Back up to Namook. And that'll be sent back for Baumgartner, who will try to regroup as it goes off of East Grand Forks. And Al-Shamani is going to get a throw in for Moorhead. As Al-Shamani with a couple of moves, is that he'll end up back with it as he went through two defenders and over to Hussein. Hussein back to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani streaking along the near side here. And a nice slide tackle there by Clark. And he'll end up regrouping and kicking that way into the sky. And Moorhead will regroup as that's passed over to the right side. And a hook shot by Alawi is going to go in and sail above the nets. And Tollefson will get a goalie kick. So Moorhead putting on a huge amount of pressure here. And with one goal to show for their efforts here through just over 12.5 minutes played. East Grand Forks has barely crossed that center line as it's been all Moorhead up to this point. As that's Clark who's going to pass it to the middle. And that's McGoy that gets it stolen from him. His pass from Gass is going to go up. And a shot by Keikos, and he's got two on the night. That's Keikos from Gast again here at 27:04 remaining. So they pose for a little photo shoot there along the side. And Moorhead takes the lead here, 2-0. on your Northwest Blind scoreboard. As we get back underway here. As Alshamani and a couple of tap passes, and that's back to Baumgartner, and another couple of tap passes, and Colborn's got it now. He'll send it over to the side to Alawi. Alawi's going to try to dart that up, and Kagos will tap it back to Desjarny. Just a passing display here from Moorhead as Gaz with a nice, almost around the back spin move. That's moved up to Hussein. Hussein try not to be outdone. It's going to end up moving over to Colborn. Colborn with a little tap pass over to Alawi. Alawi up to Kagos. Back over to Colborn. Colborn with a little hook pass on over to Gast. Gast with a couple of options, gets it up to Namook. Namook taps between the defender's legs, and he's going to get a shot on net. And a far side shot, and Namook's got his first of the night. A goal and an assist for Namook. With 26:10 remaining here. As that was a beautiful setup and a beautiful play, as Spuds will get 2 goals here in just about 1 minute here in the first half. So the Spuds now take the lead at 3-0 on your Northwest Blinds scoreboard. Now that's Namook here along the sideline, dribbling on up. Tried to go between the legs there of Nur, but that's not going to work as he'll regroup. He's going to pass on over to McGoy. McGoy's going to hit it up. And then that's tapped along the side there for Vatnsdal. Vatnsdal moving into offensive territory. And a hard pass across to Alawi before that's intercepted by Afshari. Afshari up the side, and Hashi's going to tap it on over before he tries to get it back. And a little bit of pressure here being shown by East Grand Forks is eventually Somane's going to get that for Moorhead. And he'll tap that all the way up to Ahmed. Ahmed staying on sides this time. He's going to try to tap it over to Stahlberger, but that will not work, as we did have a couple of substitutions. One of those being Stahlberger and another one of those being Somane, as I mentioned both of their names before. As Baumgartner's going to pass it up to Colborn now. Colborn dribbling a little bit. Dribbling. But that's moved over to Ahmed. Ahmed with a little move, and Ahmed's going to try to pass into the front, and just wide of the net as Justin Stahlberger was looking for one of his own to add to the total. And that did glance off of an East Grand Forks defender. So Moorhead will get a bell bank corner kick. As that will be Namook taking that. As here comes number 13, Elliot Afshari, subbing in for East Grand Forks. And Elliot Funk also comes in for Moorhead, as that'll glance off of Tollefson hands. Before that's booted all the way out by a defender. And that'll be Funk, newly entered, watching that roll past him, as he'll throw that in to Colborn. Colborn looking for options, and he'll toss that back to Desjarny. Funk also looking for options for up to Colborn, and intercepted there by the Green Wave. Is moving it up to Al-Shamani now. For that is tapped back to Baumgartner. With it along the far side now is Funk. Funk trying to make a move, and that'll end up going out. And East Grand Forks will get a throw in. East Grand Forks with it now, as they're pushing into the offensive zone, looking for pressure of their own to answer the surmounting Moorhead lead. That intended for Justin Stahlberger, and that pass is going to roll into Tollefson hands. And a whistle there, as there's an injured East Grand Forks player right at about midfield. But he's up and walking, so it's a good sign there from the East Grand Forks side as the Moorhead trainer goes out just to check on him along with his coach. That's number 13, Elliot Afshari, making his way off the field right now. And that'll be number 11, Riley Hams, coming in for an injured Afshari. As we do hope to see him back in the game here and hope that his injury is not serious at all. As we await the refs okay to begin here. Just a quick scoring recap here as Spuds are up 3-0, scoring a total of those 3 goals in under 5 minutes, with 2 of those coming from Revar Keikos and 1 of those coming from Mohamed Namouk. And East Grand Forks will look to answer that here. After a weird bounce, and eventually that'll be sent out and prevent Lukman Samain from getting a chance on Tollefson. Throw in there is fielded in by Namouk, and he'll get that tap back to him by Stahlberger as he works his way along the outside. Trying to tap it on over there to Alawi before he'll end up making a couple moves, and one too many as that's stolen from him. So the pass will be just tapped too far ahead before Moorhead's nudged off the ball. And Hashi kind of doing almost his own work here as he gets through 2 or 3 attackers and sends it up along the side. For Baumgartner's going to get that off of an Al-Shamani effort. Kept in there along the side by Afshari. Afshari intended to the middle for newly injured Riley Hams. And instead a shot's going to be sent all the way up, and Alawi's going to get that one. And right along the line, he's going to keep that in. As just about everybody thought that head went out, including me. As that will be Ollie with it now, passing it back to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani with a hard pass into Namouk. Namouk with a move around the defender. So he can only shake his head, and a great slide tackle there by Mustaf Molid. And now East Grand Forks looks to regroup. Is moving it up here is Caden Clark. He'll pass it up, and that goes off the heels of Vatnsdal before it's recollected. And sent up by Hashi. And Baumgartner having to run way back to get that one before bouncing it off of Vatnsdal's right shin, and Moorhead will get a throw in here. As that's Razak Al-Shamani looking for the throw in. Al-Shamani is going to throw that into Baumgartner. Back over to Al-Shamani. That'll be tapped up, and Ahmed will kind of spin one back to Colborne. Colborne will send that up to Funk. He'll end up getting that back almost in sort of an unplanned tap pass. Here's Stahlberger. Stahlberger's going to send it way forward for Alawi. Alawi streaking it along inside. And offsides is ruled a little bit late by an official. And that was a close offsides there as a Stahlberger pass intended for Alawi along that far side just goes a little bit too far. And Alawi jumped the gun just a little bit too much for the official's liking. So he'll rule that offsides at right about the 17-yard marker there on the football field. As Ollie's going to head that down. And that'll be Somain moving on in with a cycle move. And a hook shot's going to be sent in that goes just to the left of Tollefson. And he'll end up getting a goalie kick. As we have a substitution here, as number 19, Wyatt Courts, will go in for the East Grand Forks Green Wave. And number 5, Caden Clark, will come off the pitch. As Tollefson prepares to take a goalie kick, he'll send that on up, and that's fielded down by Samain. Eventually, Ollie will end up with that. That's Colborne with it now for a couple of bounces, and Desjardins going to settle that down before he passes over to Colborne. That's intercepted. And now a foot race that Elliott Funk will win for Moorhead. And he'll try to make a move there around Cooper Hills, but East Grand Forks is going to get a throw in there. That's thrown into Afshari. Afshari is going to tap it on back to Hills. Hills back to Afshari. Now passed up along the middle. That's going to be tried to send back in for Hams. But a great defensive effort there from Baumgartner is going to prevent anything from coming from that. And Moorhead's going to take that right back, and they're going to make a move up on the field as that's Samain coming on in. Samain with some speed, and Moorhead's got a 5-on-3. Making a move around a defender, and a blast of a shot. It's going to go right above the crossbar and out of harm's way as Tollefson will get a goalie kick from inside of his box. You saw Moorhead there with a 5-on-3 after a Samain move around a defender, and he elected to take the shot instead of having something funky happen there along the middle, and was a good choice as that was a very hard shot, just maybe a little bit misplaced. So it'd be a tap back and a header up for a couple of people before that settled down, and Samain will end up with that. Intended pass on up for Ibrahim, and Tollefson will scoop that one up. Scoop, excuse me. That's along the far side, intended to move it up to Hills, but stolen by Moorhead, and now Ollie's going to move that on over. He'll get a tap pass back. Moorhead with another rush, and that'll just glance off of the heels of Ibrahim. And Ollie here along the close side of the camera, almost lined up for a left shot. And that'll be taken in by Tollefson as he makes another save on the night. He's being heavily tested here by this offensive Moorhead crew. So he's got to be up to 4 or 5 saves here on the night, and that's not including the shots that have missed the net or hit the side of the net or one that went off of his own player. Is now Ibrahim also looks to test him, and Tollefson stands strong as he makes another save there along his right post to keep the score at 3-0. Tollefson will send that one way up, and that's fielded down by Desjardins before taken away there by Afshari. Afshari with a move around an attacker. And another move around Colborne for a directed ball will be sent on over. And now Al-Shamani's with that. Al-Shamani will send it back to Baumgartner. Baumgartner sending it on over to Funk. Funk will knock that one up as that's Alawi along the sidelines to Samain, over to Colborne, back over to Funk. And a tap back pass, to Colborne. He'll send that up. That's Alawi along the side. He lines up for a shot, and a very well executed play. As that will be along the sideline there, Alawi and Ahmed Ali in the middle, and a beautiful play as that'll be a pass in on net and then headed or chested, didn't quite catch it, but it'll be knocked in the net either way. And such a well-placed shot that it found one of the only holes in the net, and that'll go for Moorhead's 4th goal of the night. As that'll be number 22, Ahmed Ali, for number 7, Mohamed Damouk there. At just about 15:27 remaining in the second half. As now with it here is keeping, as there was a couple of substitutions.
Number 22, Ahmed Ali. It's a 4-0 Moorhead. Time of that goal, 15:32 of the first half.
As that's Parker Gast here, tapping it on up, intended there for Samain. for a foul there along East Grand Forks, and Moorhead will get a free kick. As now lining up for that will be Elliot Funk as he positions his player. As I apologize as I got that name wrong, as I've been corrected, as that was number 16, Abdizamak Ibrahim, who ended up scoring that goal in front of the net, as he has a goal on the night. Again, that is Ibrahim, not Ali, that ended up heading that one in. For Semaine, will tap that back to Desjarny. Desjarny's going to head that on over to Baumgartner. Baumgartner up along the side to Keeping. Keeping back and a tap pass over. That's Ibrahim. Stahlberger tapping on it up for Keeping. Keeping streaking along the sideline, staying on sides. And a shot sent back into the middle for Ibrahim, but that'll just glance off of his foot. And Semaine with a couple of moves. And Ibrahim will try to get his second on the night, but it'll just go off to the left side of Tollefson, and he'll get a goalie kick. Prepping here now for the goalie kick is Tollefson, and as I've said multiple times, he's been tested very heavily for the game, and for the most part, he's stayed strong with the most recent goal from Ibrahim coming from Alawi. That was just a cross-crease goal and nobody guarding Alawi, and with such a big and open net, there's really no chance of him stopping that one.
Into the match for Moorhead, number 3, Keeping.
So with it now is Desjarny. Desjarny's going to end up tapping it over to Baumgartner. That's sent on over to Funk. Funk will move that up. And he'll try to pass to Stahlberger, but that'll go just out of reach and tapped out of bounds by Moorhead. And Funk will get a throw in here along the far side. And a weird bounce, and Ali is going to settle that one down. East Grand Forks with a little bit of a rush, and a great step there by Parker Gast. Gast is going to send it to Stahlberger. Tried to tap it on over to Semaine, but sent on out by Moorhead again. And Moorhead with a throw in there along the far side. Is that sent on in? And now Semaine with it. Semaine with a little bit of a move to Alawi. Alawi back to Semaine. Semaine pressured along the sideline. He's moving his way out and working his way out of a tight squeeze there by the Green Wave defenders. As now on the opposite side of the field, that'll be Ibrahim with it. Ibrahim trying to dart to the center, but just a little bit too far, and Keeping's going to settle that one down. Pass over to Ahmed Ali. Let's move it over to Funk. Funk's going to try to send that back to Desjarny. And Desjarny with a tap around an East Grand Forks defender, and a handball will be ruled right at about the 35 there on the football field. If you're looking at the markings on your screen. And East Grand Forks will get a kick from right about that far hash. That's Cooper Hills looking to take that one. He'll send that in a pre-planned play, and a shot will go in on net. And Vanette's got his first save of the night, and a rebound. Another save by Jacob Vanette as he recovers, diving to his left on a ball that squeezed just through his hands. And Vanette has been tested 2 times in quick succession, and he holds strong for a ball sent all the way up and out of reach there along the sidelines for Osama Alawi. As we have another injury at midfield. Is there coach and trainer will come out to check on him. I do apologize as I cannot see the number that it is. It is number 3, Nathan Afshari, there along center of the field. And that'll be the second East Grand Forks player that will come out tonight. As I do see an update there along the sidelines as number 13, Elliot Afshari, is moving around on the sidelines. He does appear to have a little bit of a brace around his knee, but he is up and walking around nonetheless. As we again wait for the ref's whistle to allow play here with 9:55 left. And speaking of Elliot Afshari, he will check back into the game here for an injured Nathan Afshari. As the refs are getting things settled down here as to who's going to get to kick it and when they will start the clock. Is there we go, and the clock is started. And Tollefson will take the kick from his end. He'll send that one all the way up to forward Nur. Nur pressured hard by Moorhead. For that'll be Ibrahim trying to send that all the way across. For that's fielded down by Pin in a fight with Alawi along the side there. And it'll glance off of Moorhead and a quick throw in there by the Green Wave. And Desjardins is going to get to that ball, and he'll tap it out. A wise decision there as a streaking Elliot Afshari tries to take advantage of Moorhead's extended position. That's going to be tapped up for Stahlberger, who tries to run ahead. And you see the same thing on the other side with Molid using the same strategy as Jesse Desjardins and tapping the ball out when he realized that his team was also extended there into the offensive zone and couldn't quite regroup. That's going to be sent over, and Ollie's going to settle that one down. Let's move over to Gast, who will tap it on back to Desjardins. As a nice move there along the side by Funk. Funk's going to try to send that up for Stahlberger, but that's headed away. And now Olali will settle that down with a throw-in along the near side, as he'll have Funk take that one. Funk's going to throw that one in for Ali. Ali's going to try to tap that on over, and it will be tapped on over to Gast. And he'll get it back, moving along the side for keeping back to the middle before that's knocked away from him. Gast trying to make a dart along the outside. He'll get around one defender. He'll dart around another, trying to keep it in, and a hook shot will go off of the bottom of the football crossbar. And the score will stay at 4-0. As we have two more check-ins here for East Grand Forks, as number 7, Hamza Hashi, checks in, and also number 3, Nathan Afshari, comes back into the game with what appears to be a hand injury, as he's got a wrap there along his right hand. So it's good to know that both the Afsharis are okay and will continue in this game. As a header is sent on up, and now that's Nur with it. Nur pressured hard by Samain before he'll pass back newly entered Afshari. Afshari tried to send it on up to Hashi, but Moorhead's going to end up giving that one back to East Grand Forks. And a hard kick sent up by Ibrahim. And Ibrahim with it. Bass back across to the middle. Hook shot by Samain is going to glance off of a East Grand Forks defender. That was Molid, putting the body on the line there and blocking it with either the back or the back of his head. And now Moorhead will get a bell bank corner kick, as they're looking to obviously extend their lead to 5-0 here, as they've been pretty high scoring over the past couple of games, including a couple of games at 7-0. As Keeping will settle that one down. Keeping's going to pass that on over to the middle to Semaine. Semaine with attempted move. Pass back over to Keeping. Keeping's going to move it in, and an intended pass there for Stahlberger, but Tollefson will get it as that went just out of his reach, and he'll boot that one all the way forward and out of bounds. So Moorhead gets a throw in. Stahlberger trying to settle that one down as he's pressured hard, and eventually it'll get tapped back to him. So he'll try to go for it, but Tollefson diving out, playing aggressive, will cover that one and shield it using his body. As Afshar is with it here. Afshar is going to move it up to his forward courts, but it'll glance off of him, and Keeping will take a throw in here along the side for Moorhead. A fake pass over, and Semaine trying to dart in on net, but a great play there by Moorhead. And that's moved on up to Hashi. Hashi intended to pass there to Nur. And he'll end up somehow moving that on over to Afshi, before that's taken away by Ollie. Ollie's going to pass it into a streaking Alawi. Alawi's going to shoot in, a save by Tollefson. Trying to go between Tollefson's legs there as he played very aggressive and came out to meet the shooters. There wasn't really any spot he could put it except for where he tried, and Tollefson ends up beating him. And Jacob Vinette tees that one up and sends that one way out. And that'll be off Shari here, making a move. He's going to try to move that up along the wing before it'll glance off of a attacker's heel. As that's Alawi along the side with the ball. Pass back to Ali. That's tapped way ahead for Keeping. Keeping in one-on-one with Tollefson right here. Is attempted regroup, and that'll be Keeping sending it in to the goalie box. And number 6, Lukman Semaine, ends up getting that one here with 4:04 remaining in the first half to put Moorhead ahead on your Northwest Blind scoreboard, 5-0. Again, that was number 6, Lukman Semaine, coming from number 3, Keaton Keeping.
Moorhead goal scored by number 10. By number 6, Lukman Semaine. Makes it 5-0. Moorhead, time of that goal, 4:03 of the first half.
Now we'll get back underway here at Jim Goda Stadium. Moorhead looking to either extend or hold the lead as a defensive lapse, and Semaine with a move around looking for 2. And a save by Tollefson. Tollefson kind of standing strong for his team. There was a little bit of a defensive lapse as they weren't quite sure almost what to do with it once they got it. But Tollefson says no worries and helps keep the score where it is. And Tollefson will make another save there. He'll leap out for that one. And a shot in on that's going to be booted. Shot into the middle field is going to be booted way up. And Keeping is going to field that down with his chest, keeping that in along the sideline. Trying to make a rush up now before that's stolen away from him. That's passed up to Hashi. And an intended pass over there along the side will be taken away by Gast, who will send it over to Funk. And a weird bounce will go off of Nur's foot and sent way up. And boxing out along the sidelines there is Ollie. Dejarny. And Funk will get a throw in. Intended forward, but headed by East Grand Forks, and a couple of weird bounces, and there's a battle for it. Funk will end up with that one. That'll be headed by Ibrahim for Semaine. There's a little bit of confusion there as to who's going to take that for Moorhead, but stolen pass by Gast will let Moorhead regroup. Stahlberger tries to head out on over to Alawi. Alawi using a burst of speed along the side. Trying to decide what to do with it. He's got a couple of options as he just has it stolen away from him by Afshari. And they'll be knocked out of bounds. And Moorhead will get a throw in as here comes Elliot Funk to take that. That throw is going to be sent on in and immediately headed back out there by Nuhr. Funk tries to decide what to do. She'll try to throw that one well inbounds to Alawi. But East Grand Forks will knock that one away with no further harm. But not if anything can be done by Parker Gast. But Tollefson will stop him as he dives out and takes that opportunity away. Tollefson's going to send that one up. Intended for Hamza Hashi. And a takedown there, as it will be called a foul against Ibrahim. And we have 1 minute remaining here in the first half of play. As that'll be Hills tapping it in on the offensive zone. Stahlberg with a nice box out play there, sends it back to Semaine. Semaine with a nifty little move along at midfield. Pass it over to Ali. Ali back to Semaine. Semaine with it. Trying to decide what to do as he's swamped there by 3 East Grand Forks defenders, and they'll end up with the ball. Is that sent from Hashi, intended all the way up for Nuhr. Gas will settle that back down. Before that's knocked off of Hashi's foot. And Moorhead gets a throw in here for Keaton keeping. He'll send that in on Justin Stolberger. He'll try to settle that down, pass it over, and then immediately knocked away by East Grand Forks. It's a couple of back and forth passes there, and that will bring our first half to a close. And as it stands on your Northwest Blind scoreboard, your Spuds lead the Green Wave of East Grand Forks 5-0.
Natural talent, physical gifts, training advantages. To become a champion, none of that matters. True champions are the ones who are comfortable working harder, staying later, and finding that competitive edge. They are never satisfied simply doing a good job, because those who transform themselves from local talent into local folklore are the ones who continually perform beyond their limits. Bell Bank, proudly supporting champions everywhere.
Pam is a small business owner. She is swamped. Pam knows she needs to advertise, but is overwhelmed by all the options. What if there was a way for Pam to have access to a team of media experts? What if this was at no extra cost and didn't require a contract? Meet Avenue Right. Save time, money, and get peace of mind that your advertising dollars are well spent.
We are The Breakdown. For almost 2 decades, we've published the most comprehensive yearbooks on Minnesota high school sports and run the best in-season and off-season events. We cover every corner of the state. We are The Breakdown.
Boss DXT snowplows are tough to beat. Featuring dual trip tech, flared wings, and optional D-force for improved scraping and backdragging performance. Choose from 3 different sizes in steel, stainless steel, and poly. The Boss DXT is built to restore order.
Your home for Boss snowplows is Bert's Truck Equipment on Highway 75 North in Moorhead.
Before I became a real boy, life was easy. I just sat there doing sandwich stuff. But being alive is so hard. So if you don't want to get up to get a sandwich, you shouldn't have to.
Revive Professional Massage Therapy Clinic. Locally owned and operated. Open 7 days a week, day, evening, and same-day appointments available. Couples massages also available. 20 highly trained professional licensed massage therapists on staff. Now with 2 locations, South Fargo and Detroit Lakes. Offering online booking and online gift certificates. www.reviveprofessionalmassage.com.
The Moorhead Legacy Education Foundation and Spud History were happy to offer services to 10 Moorhead High School class reunions this summer. The class reunions took tours of the high school, visited the Spud History Wall at Horizon Middle School, were entertained by Moorhead High School music students, and were visited by Spuddy. Start planning your class reunion today. Here's the email address, spudhistory@moorheadschools.org for more information.
Natural talent, physical gifts, training advantages. To become a champion, none of that matters. True champions are the ones who are comfortable working harder, staying later, and finding that competitive edge. They are never satisfied simply doing a good job, because those who transform themselves from local talent into local folklore are the ones who continually perform beyond their limits. Bell Bank, proudly supporting champions everywhere.
is a small business owner. She is swamped. Pam knows she needs to advertise, but is overwhelmed by all the options. What if there was a way for Pam to have access to a team of media experts? What if this was at no extra cost and didn't require a contract? Meet Avenue Right. Save time, money, and get peace of mind that your advertising dollars are well spent.
Point when Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Spuds TV as we are coming back for the second half of boys high school soccer here at Jim Goda Stadium. Your Moorhead Spuds lead 5-0 as again we head into the second half here. Just a couple of recap points here from the first half of play. Moorhead, very heavy offensive performance, getting at least 10 to 15 shots there in just that first half alone, and as you can see there on the scoreboard at the bottom of your screen, that's contributed to their 5 goals so far. And those goals, 2 of them coming from Caicos, 1 of them coming from Namook, another from Ibrahim, and another from Somain. So contribution from all around that Spuds offense is a couple of passes back and forth. And Tollefson from East Grand Forks he's standing strong. He's doing pretty good. Considering you look at that score and you think, oh, either something's going wrong on East Grand Forks' part or Moorhead just is doing that well. And it's the second one here as Tollefson is making a lot of huge saves, as the score could very easily be at least 10-0, if not higher, if Tollefson hadn't made about 3 or 4 big saves in that half alone. As we get the second half of play here underway. And that sent on up for Hussein. Is using that speed. He'll try to send it in on net. And it'll hit the back of the net. He was actually close there with a hook shot, trying to keep it going out of bounds, but to no avail there as Tollefson's going to get a shot. Excuse me, that will be Afshari taking the shot for him. As that sent up and tapped a couple of times before settled down by Hashi. And stolen away there by Johnson. A little bit of a battle there with Hussein before Hashi's going to get that. Trying to pass that to Afshi. And a spin move by Ben Colborne before he moved that over to Hussein, back over to Caicos. Caicos, and a hard rocket of a shot is going to sail just over the crossbar. So Moorhead looking like their first half selves, and some heavy offensive pressure coming immediately out of the gate. With about that one chance there from Caicos, and the chance earlier that Hussein tried to generate, but ended up not being able to keep it in. As now East Grand Forks will look to regroup. For Hashi, as he'll pass it on over to Vatnsdal. Vatnsdal trying to move it up along the side with a couple of fake dribbles, trying to throw off Funk. Forehand up getting that and accidentally tapping it back over to Vatnsdal. Vatnsdal along the side, and Alawi will settle that one down and send that one all the way back up. As Hussein will take that in. Pass to the middle. And a streak on in. And they're good. Along the far side. Nice little move. A shot into the middle intended for a streaking Moorhead forward. But will just bounce out of reach as that bounced off a little bit awkwardly off of his foot. And Tollefson's going to get a shot. Is Moorhead with just about all of their starters back in the game here, as they rested them for that second half. And the shot by Keikos will go just to the right of Tollefson. So Tollefson with another goalie kick here from side of his small box. He's getting ready to send that on out. He'll send that way out, and the bouncing ball will be taken in by Carter Johnson. He'll send that on up to Ahmed. Ahmed's going to tap that forward to Hussein. Back to Ahmed. Ahmed streaking along the side. The nice move there. He's in all alone. Or rather, we thought he was alone. As in comes a streaking Osama Olawi. And Olawi with a goal. As he set one up earlier, and he's got a goal here now. As that was number 9, Abdirahman Ahmed, passing it to number 12, Osama Olawi here, with just about 36 minutes remaining in the second half. So just over 4 minutes into the game. As that was, again, number 12, Osama Olawi from number 9, Abdirahman Ahmed. And the Moorhead Spuds take a 6-0 lead on your Northwest Blinds scoreboard. As that's tapped back for Colborne. Colborne's going to try to send it on over, but great offensive disruption there from Imran Nur. Excuse me, that was Wyatt Courts. Moorhead gets a throw in there along the far side as the ball will, it'll bounce off of Moorhead, and East Grand Forks will get a throw in there along the far side. Is that sent into Nur? Nur tapping it back, trying to look for a tap back pass. And it'll glance off and thrown in. Is that settled on by Johnson, and he'll send that way out. And a nice move there by Keikos. And he'll pass that on up. Again to a streaking forward Alawi. We'll have to settle that down before that's tapped out. And a throw in along the sidelines will be taken. That's tapped and intended for Ahmed, but instead sent out by Moorhead. That was Ahmed almost with a chance of his own, generating that scoring chance we saw just a couple of moments ago from Alawi. That's Baumgartner, who's going to tap it over to his D partner Johnson, who hits it up to Funk. Funk's going to send that in, and that's knocked into the air by Moorhead. Coming in is Afshari. He'll fight for it with Colborne, and Colborne will come away with that one. So that's moved up to Ahmed. Ahmed to Hussein. Hussein's going to chip that in, and Ahmed tries to settle that down. He'll go off the back of his foot, and a slide tackle by Moorhead will stop Moorhead for now as they end up getting the ball back, and that's Keikos with a couple of moves before that's stolen away. And Ahmed back to Hussein, over to Ahmed. Ahmed looking for a shot in. Tried to tap back to Hussein, but he was a little bit too far ahead. And now Nur is going to take that up for East Grand Forks, but Hussein's going to just take that right back. So Moorhead not wanting to let up on the pressure as Ahmed's looking for a shot. And a save by Tollefson. As great offensive pressure met with goaltending and defense there by the Green Wave. And Ahmed's going to start that pressure right back again, and that's past to Hussein. Hussein intended for Keikos, but it'll just bounce past, and that's Alawi sending it in. That was the Mook trying to dribble in the air past a couple of defenders. And that'll bounce well past the 40, and Moorhead will get a throw in. As that's thrown in from Baumgartner. And Colburn moving up with it now. That's Namook trying to get it over to Al-Shamani, I believe. That'll be Colburn with it. Colburn back to Hussein. Hussein's going to tap it on over to Keikos. Keikos over to Ahmed. Ahmed trying to decide what to do. Drives to the outside. A shot in. Looking for the same thing as before, as that was the same two players. Ahmed and Alawi trying to connect once again with the same way they scored their 6th goal. But they couldn't find it on that one, as Alawi streaks a little bit more forward of where Ahmed was expecting him to. Now here's Hussein with a hard shot, and that'll glance off of a defender. Ahmed will settle that back down, back to Hussein. Hussein with a move round. A shot in on net, and there's a lot of people in the goal box, but not a problem for Tollefson as he'll scoop that one up. I mentioned before the score, well, now it's 6-0, but Tollefson's still playing a very good game, as evidenced there by those back-to-back saves. The result of the score so far has been more so that Moorhead has just outperformed, not Tollefson being outperformed. It's about half the goals of the Spuds so far tonight have come on open nets and just backdoor passes that there's no way that you can expect Tollefson to even come close to stopping those. And Moorhead, again, looking to keep doing that as they know that he can't stop those. As Colburn with it now is going to tap it over to Alawi. Alawi's going to send it in for Colburn, tapped over to Al-Shamani. We'll try to send that up, but it'll glance off, and he'll get a throw in for Colburn. Before a foul on a stalking Hazme Hashi. As he tried to jump the gun a little bit there, is not sure if Al-Shamani didn't see him or thought there was more room for Colburn. But he threw it into him, and Hashi was right on him immediately. But Moorhead will get a goal kick, and that's free kick, and that's taken in. And a shot goes in on Tollefson as a result of that free kick. And your Spuds are up 7-0. As that was number 12, Osama Alawi, getting his second of the night with 29:30 remaining in the second half at the time of the goal.
Time of that goal, 29:19 of the second half.
Is now that sent on out as that goes just past and goes out for a Moorhead throw-in. That's passed up to the middle. Another shot sent in on net, and he will score. And a goal from Mohamed Namook, and he has his second of the night. I did not catch the assist on that one. I know it was Namook on the shot as he sent that in from well outside of the box. And a rocket of a shot puts Moorhead up 8-0 on the Northwest Blinds scoreboard. And with 28-13 remaining here in the game, that's tapped back there. 4 sent on over for an intended target of Hams before Moorhead ends up with that as Hussein tried to tap it over to Keikos. And East Grand Forks ends up with that and a spin move by Funk. And a takedown along the side there by Vatnsdale. And Funk gets a free kick. Or a penalty kick from right between the 30 and 35 yard line markers there. Along. And now that'll be along the far side. And a kick to the face, I believe, along the far side as a streaking Moorhead forward ended up getting just a soccer cleat to the face as he was looking to make the score 9-0. And now Tollefson will try to take a goalie kick from his box. He'll send that on out. Hussein with a couple of tap backs, and Tollefson will get that one. I do apologize as I miscalled a goal there. It ended up getting called back. That's why there was no kick from the middle, as I believe it was either offsides or a foul on Moorhead, so it ended up getting called back. And so the score is at 7-0 in favor of the Moorhead Spuds as a streaking Mohammed Hussein will take back what I just said and make it 8. That was number 11, Mohammed Hussein, with about 25-50 at the time of the goal in the second half. And now the score stands at 8-0 on your Northwest Blinds scoreboard, with your Spuds leading.
25-43 of the second half.
And again, we are at running time here in tonight's game because of the score. And unless East Grand Forks gets a couple here, we may stay that way for the night. A speed here by Keikos as he brings it up the middle, tapped all the way along the side. Pass back into the middle, and what a save by Tollefson. Spinning around and grabbing that one as it just skims a little bit past him. And he ends up, again, spinning around and grabbing that one before that can just go past him. And he prevents another Moorhead goal and keeps the score at 8-0. And he'll send that one on out. That's Keikos fighting for it with about 3 other attackers. Pass back to Keikos. Keikos to the middle to Hussein. Hussein with a little spin around and a backwards pass. Is that sent in for Colborne? Colborne looking for a shot, and that's handled by Tollefson. Tollefson electing to throw this one well up the field, as that's headed into the air by Vattensdale. Settled down by Hussein. Before that's a battle with Vattensdale and Hashi. And Hashi will end up coming away with that before that's stolen by Funk. And passed back up to Ahmed. Ahmed back over to Hussein. Hussein over to Colborne. Colborne with a couple of moves before he'll get that to Funk. Funk will hit that to the middle to Hussein. Hussein over to Ahmed. Ahmed back to the middle, and a shot and a goal. Another one puts the Spuds at 9 on the night with 23:30 remaining, as that was number 10, Revar Keikos, with the goal on that one after a tic-tac-toe effort from Moorhead. And the score stands at 9-0 in favor of your Spuds here, with just over half of the second part of this game remaining. As East Grand Forks will look to settle that down, and Hashi trying to do things on his own here. And that's stolen by Dejarny. Dejarny up to Stahlberger. Stahlberger trying to go around now. He'll pass it to Alawi. Or rather, that'll be blocked away. It's sent over to Alawi's spot. So he's in a foot race there. And that'll be won by the East Grand Forks Green Waves, Riley Hams. But Stahlberger will end up settling that one down. So he'll pass that on over to Semaine. And Semaine with the between the legs move. Pass on up to Stahlberger. Stahlberger to the middle, and a hard shot on net will go to Tollefson's right and pose no threat to him for the moment, and he'll get a goalie kick once again for the night, as I've lost track of the amount of times that he's ended up having to shoot from his own box or throw or have somebody else take the kick for him, as Moorhead has just shelled the net so much tonight, allowing only 2 shots so far. Both of those shots coming within 10 seconds of each other on a rebound. Is now Moorhead looking to put more pressure on, trying to get to double digits here. As that's Funk on a tap back pass to Gast. Gast will send that on over. That's keeping with it. Pass up to Stahlberger. Tapped on over to Somain. Somain's going to send that on in for a streaking 8 forward. And Ahmed is going to try to knock that one in, but will go just out of his reach. And again, Tollefson with a kick there from his small box. And the amount of shots that this defense has absorbed tonight is almost unthinkable. Is they've got to be at least 20, maybe even more shots for Moorhead tonight. As there's another shot as Tollefson dives to his right and makes that save. As Tollefson trying to decide what to do with it. He's going to send that one all the way up. In keeping, he'll try to head that one down. But it'll go off. As they're trying to decide whether that went off of Keeping's head or not. And they'll rule that it was a handball, rather. And so a free kick will take place for Cooper Hills of East Grand Forks, as he looks to kickstart an offense and try to give at least one goal here to East Grand Forks. As the Green Wave yet to score a goal this year through, this is now their 4th game. Is again hoping to break that spell tonight and at least put up 1. As you hate to have a 0 in any stat category unless it's goals against. Is now that's Semaine with it. Semaine's going to tap it on up before that's knocked forward by Pin. Settled down by Semaine, back up to Hussein. Sent well in for Ahmed, but settled by Molid. And that'll bounce just out of bounds. And they'll be Keeping taking the throw in along the side, as we have 2 substitutions here. Ahmed Ali and Razak Al-Shamani coming into the game for Moorhead. And coming out is number 11, Mohammed Hussein, and number 9, Abdirahman Ahmed. With it now is Gast. Gast is going to send it on over. Tapped up for Al-Shamani. And a couple of kicks, and Ali's going to end up with that. Over to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani is going to send that in, but it'll go off the toe of his foot rather than the inside of his foot, and that'll bounce past the net as that went up and to the right on your screen. And the score stays at 9-0 in favor of your Spuds. Semaine settles that one down. Couple of moves there. Sent in for Stahlberger as he tries to decide what to do with it. And eventually he'll pass it to Ali. Ali with a left-footed pass intended up for Semaine. Excuse me, Ibrahim. And now Hills is going to pass that on up to his wing. And that'll glance off of a Moorhead attacker, Ibrahim. And East Grand Forks gets a throw in here with just over 17 minutes remaining in the game. And here's a throw in as East Grand Forks will come away with that. And Hashi there are doing everything he can to try to get his team's offense going before Moorhead will end up with that one again. And they've got a 4-on-4 here. And a good step by Moorhead. Molad's making a rush here. Kicked all the way up. And Vanette seeing his first action of the second half on an easy scoop up and roll over to the side. Is now Baumgartner's going to pass it back to Keeping. Keeping rolling with it. To the middle to Ibrahim. Ibrahim to Ali. He's going to tap it on over for Parker Gass. Gass is going to try to send that one up for Al-Shamani. But Molid, who's been playing stellar defense all game in regards to Moorhead's rushes, will tap out another one. And Moorhead will throw it in to Stahlberger. And Funk's going to send that back into the middle. And a shot off of Molid. I'm not sure where Molid took that one, as it may have been somewhere upper body. And a couple of moves there from Semaine before Ali will just take that and pass it on over. With it now is Ibrahim. Ibrahim with a nice little move. Stahlberg's going to tap it over to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani's going to send a shot to the right of Tollefson, and Moorhead gets double digits on the night. And they're now ahead 10-0. As that was Razak Al-Shamani from Justin Stahlberger and Ibrahim there along the far side. And at the time of the goal, it was about 15 minutes remaining in the second half. And again, the score is 10-0 Moorhead on your Northwest Blind scoreboard. And I have said that score, I've said Moorhead score quite a bunch tonight, as they have almost scored at will, except for when Tollefson makes another spectacular save, as he has had to many times tonight. As Moorhead makes a rush here. And move there along the middle. Try to send up to Somain. Somain will end up with it. That's pass back over to Ali. Ali with a nice little move in tight. And a slide tackle to knock the ball away from him. For that settled back down by Gast. Gast trying to move on in, and a shot to the right of Tollefson, who had that side covered. But it'll curve away from him and bounce harmlessly to his right. As the refs will actually rule that it glanced off of Tollefson's hands. And so Moorhead will get a corner kick here, as you can chalk up another save for Tollefson on that. As Moorhead will try to add a goal to their total. As Funk will send that in the middle, and a header knocked aside by Tollefson. Standing on his head there in his crease once again, knocks it away and prevents the Moorhead from adding yet another goal to their total. And a shot will be sent in on a bell bank corner kick, well over everybody. For Semaine settles that one down. And now Dejarny, the lone defender, back for Moorhead right now. He's going to send that on over to Ali. Ali with a nice move around. He's going to send that up to Somain. That's tapped over to Funk. Funk with it now. Move to Somain. Somain moving around. Hook pass to the far side. Is now trying to streak in his Colborne and, Gas, and an attempted slide tackle will not work out, and Dejarny will regroup the Spuds right at about midfield. As that's Ali, and the pass will get away from him, and Baumgartner will move the Spuds even farther back. And Funk with a attempted spin move there, as he's knocked off the ball by Vattendale, and the Spuds will get a throw in. Funk's going to send that one in. Intended for either Stahlberger or Semaine, and Stahlberger will end up with it. Stahlberger's going to tap that ahead for Al Shamani, who uses his speed. Hook shot sent in on net, and that'll go right behind the net between the metal trapezoid there along the side, and Tollefson gets another goal kick.
Number 18, Carson McDonald checking in for the Green Wave.
As you may have heard there, number 18, Carson McDonald checking in for the Green Wave. And out comes number 3, Nathan Afshari. Still with that brace along his right hand. Is that Stahlberger moving it up and a tap back pass from Semaine. Trying to move on in, looking for his first of the night. He'll tap it instead over intended. Excuse me, that was Gast intending to hit Stahlberger there along the middle. And now Tollefson gets a goalie kick from his box. Sends that on out. Settled on by Gast. Gast trying to make a rush on in. With a stop and go, a little attempt there. Regrouped by Ollie. Ollie taps that over to Al Shamani. Back to Ollie. That's tapped off of Al Shamani, and now they'll be thrown in by East Grand Forks. Now Hills is going to take that away. Passed up for Vantendal. Excuse me, Vattensdal. Mispronounced that name. Is now Ollie is going to pass it along the side. An attempt in for Semaine. He'll make a move around two East Grand defenders. Seems that was Ibrahim along the side. Now he's going to get it back. That's tapped to keeping and sent in, and Tollefson will group that one up and get another kick or throw or whatever he decides to do, as he'll kick that one out. A line drive sent and blocked down by Gast. And a handball on Gast is a kick will be taken by the Green Wave and then knocked immediately back up by Funk. Semaine will tap that one over Hill's head before he'll take that back, and that's intended for Vattensdal, but knocked away from him, and Funk will get that. Passed up for Al Shamani, and that'll go between his legs, and a spin will take it out of bounds. And now Cooper Hills take the throw in, as Imran Nur comes back into the game for the East Grand Forks Green Wave, with 8:40 remaining in this game. Keeping settles that one down. He's going to pass it over to Desjarny. Desjarny's going to take a shot up to Al Shamani. Al Shamani's going to tap that forward for Funk, and just out of his reach. And the Green Wave get a throw in here along the near side. That'll be Hills taking that one. Hills is going to throw that in. And a couple of tap passes, and Gas is going to steal that one. And that's sent way out, and Keeping will watch that one bounce. And he'll get a throw in right at about the midfield line.
Number 11, Mohammed Hussein checking in for Moorhead.
As you may have heard there, number 11, Mohammed Hussein checks in for Moorhead.
Number 3, Nathan Afshari.
And Nathan Afshari comes back into the game for East Grand Forks. Is moving here along the side is Moorhead, trying to start that heavy offense. Is that tapped back to Ali. But Gast will come up and get that one in a fake shot. Well, excuse me for the pause. There is a hard shot will go off the face of Imran Nur, who actually just entered the game a minute or two ago. as he had to take a little bit of time to regroup that one, as I wasn't sure whether he would have another injury or not tonight, as he seems to be walking around and talking fine. As Tollefson's going to send that one way up. That's knocked away and settled down by Moorhead. As Gass is going to end up with that one. He'll tap it on over to Dejarny. Dejarny to Hussein. Hussein playing defense right now. That's sent all the way up in Al-Shamani. Will attempt to pass it to the middle before that's knocked away by Nur. Funk's going to throw that in. From Semaine over to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani behind the back. And a nice little move there. He'll try to spin it around. And it'll go off of East Grand Forks, and a throw in here for Funk for Moorhead. An attempted block there from Nur. And Nur will keep that one in. For East Grand Forks settle that down and attempted to pass up to Vatnsdal. And he'll kick that ahead, but Dejarny will be there. That's taken away by Vatnsdal. And Hashi, and a shot in from Vatnsdal. And now a couple of nice moves there. And a shot in on Vanette. And he will take in a Nur shot with no issue for his first official shot of the night. Second official shot of the night, but first real test shot of the night, as he got that roller earlier from about the 40-yard line that he just scooped up and sent back out. That eventually led to another Moorhead goal. And a cycle move around Al-Shamani, and eventually a little bit too much on Molded's tap forward. Intended for Vatnsdal, but a little bit, as I said, too much. And Funk will throw that into Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani trying to decide what to do with it. Sent in for Funk. Funk's going to try to hit it back to the middle. That's settled by Stahlberger. Pass to Ali. Back to Stahlberger. Stahlberger to the middle. To Ahmed. Ahmed with a drag. And Tollefson kind of knowing that the whistle was over, but not trying to give up on the play either. Stays in it and ends up glancing off of his hands, but it won't matter because East Grand Forks will take a free kick from the goalie box. That's settled down by Hashi. Hashi's going to intend to send it up for Nur, but that's knocked away by Jesse Dejarny and kept in by Keaton Keeping. He'll pass that on over to the side to Hussein. Hussein intending to tap it to Ali. And a couple of tap passes will give it to Hills. And Hussein will take that one back. For Afshari, sends it in. A couple of back and forth possession changes here. As now Moorhead will try to settle it down as Al-Shamani watches that roll out of bounds. And they get a throw in here. As Elliot Funk stalling for a little bit of time here and opting to go get the ball that rolled along the sideline rather than the ball kept along the side by one of the ball boys. You may see down there at the bottom of your screen. That's Funk. Heading it in and keeping it in for Moorhead before Hashi trying to make a move. Get something going here for East Grand Forks, and a nifty move for that's taken in by Nur. Nur moving on in for knocked away from him by Funk. And Ollie's going to send that up to Al-Shamani. Al-Shamani intending to send that to the middle, but that's knocked away. And Vatnsdal trying to get something going, but Moorhead defense proving strong, and eventually it'll roll out of bounds. And East Grand Forks with a throw-in. And a little bit of a scare there for Moorhead is Hashi almost had a break on net, but a knockout by Jesse Dejarny will give East Grand Forks a throw-in with just about 2 minutes remaining here in the second half. There's now a couple of substitutions, including number 13, Elliot Afshari. Is now Samains with it. Pass intended for Ollie will be stolen away by Moorhead. Moorhead trying to get something going with it. For it's taken away by Ibrahim, and that'll glance off of the ref's head. Is not sure what the ruling was there. Is a hard shot will hit the back of the official's head. And it'll be ruled a dead ball from where it hit the official. And Parker Gast will move that on up along the side to Keeping, who in turn tries to send it up to Stahlberger. Stahlberger taps that back for Keeping. Keeping's going to send it in on the crease. Box.
1 minute remaining in the second half.
And with 1 minute there in the second half, an attempted shot from Ibrahim. And a couple of weird bounces and a shot again will go over the net as Tollefson helps up Ibrahim in the box. And East Grand Forks actually tipped that out. And so Moorhead gets a bell bank corner kick. Moorhead thought it was going to be a corner kick, but there's another ball set up along the side of the box there. But Moorhead will get the ball back, tap back to the middle, and they'll just glance off the side of his foot. As that was Samain looking for an 11-0 lead. But instead here, as time winds down, it looks that Moorhead will keep their lead at 10-0 and improve their record to 6-1-1 with those tie and losses coming immediately in the season. So a 6-game win streak for Moorhead as they again improve their record to 6-1-1. So tonight a 10-0 victory over the East Grand Forks Green Wave. And I'm Carter Castoris, and for my crew at